All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are cracking open the ultimate rulebook for, well, everything. I mean, literally everything in the entire universe. We're talking about physics. So, let's start with a big question. Have you ever just stopped and wondered, how does any of this work? You know, the phone in your hand, the car you drive, even the stars you see at night. How does it all function? Well, believe it or not, there's one single field of science that tries to answer that exact question. And yep, you guessed it, that field is physics. It's a pretty cool name, actually. It comes from the old Greek word physis, which just means nature. And honestly, that's the perfect way to think about it. Physics is the study of nature itself. It's all about how matter, energy, and forces get along and interact. It's basically the instruction manual for reality. Okay, a topic that big. Where do you even start? Well, let's begin right here with the stuff we see and feel every single day. This is the physics of the everyday. First up is something you're actually a total pro at, even if you don't know it. It's called mechanics. Seriously, every time you toss a ball, or drive your car, or even just walk, you're basically doing a real-world mechanics experiment. Mechanics is all about the how and why of movement. It covers the basics, like speed and velocity, but it also gives us these fundamental laws of motion. And of course, it covers the big one, gravity. That's the super simple, totally reliable reason why if you throw a ball up, it's definitely coming back down, every single time. Okay, so we've talked about things moving. Now let's talk about the energy inside them. This brings us to the world of thermodynamics. It's all about heat, temperature, and how energy flows and changes all around us. The big rule here is that energy can't be created or destroyed. It just moves around and changes its outfit. Thermodynamics is why your coffee gets cold, or how a car engine turns gas into go. And think about your fridge. It's not really making cold. What it's actually doing is using these laws to pump the heat from inside the fridge out into your kitchen. All right, let's move on to a force that, and I'm not exaggerating, powers our entire modern world. We're talking about electromagnetism. You know, the wildest part is that electricity and magnetism are basically two sides of the same coin. They're totally linked. And once we figure that out, we harness this incredible force to do, well, everything. The power in your walls, the tiny circuits in your phone. Yep, even the screen you're looking at right now runs on this stuff. So how about the physics of how we actually see the world? That brings us to light itself and the really cool field of optics. Optics is basically the art and science of bossing light around. We learned how to bend it using lenses, that's called refraction, and how to bounce it with mirrors. And once we mastered that, wow, we could build cameras, giant telescopes to look at other galaxies, and something a lot of us use every day, a simple pair of glasses to help us see. Okay, we've covered seeing, now let's talk about hearing. Welcome to acoustics, the science of sound. So what is sound, really? At its core, it's just a vibration moving through something, usually the air. Acoustics helps us understand how the speed of that wiggle changes the pitch, high or low, and why sound waves can bounce off a wall and create an echo. Every single sound you're hearing right now is just a tiny little physics lesson arriving at your eardrums. Okay, so that's the physics we can see, touch, and hear. But what about the stuff we can't see? What about the rules for the invisible world? To do that, we have to zoom way, way in. And this is where things get really weird. This is the world of modern physics. It was a total game changer that completely flipped our understanding of how reality works. Modern physics basically stands on two giant pillars. First, you've got quantum physics. That's the super strange, kind of fuzzy rulebook for the tiniest things imaginable. Then you've got Einstein's relativity, which is the rulebook for the biggest things, like gravity, space, and time. And the biggest puzzle in physics right now? Trying to get those two rulebooks to agree with each other. So let's put those new, weird rules to work. If we zoom in on the atom, the basic building block of literally everything, we enter the field of atomic physics. This is all about using quantum mechanics to figure out how atoms are built. And inside the atom, we meet the main characters. You've got protons and neutrons hanging out in the middle, in the nucleus. And then you have the electrons just buzzing around them in this weird cloud of possibilities. Figuring out how they all behave is the secret to, well, everything. It's why gold is shiny, why diamonds are hard. It's what makes every single material different. Okay, one last zoom in. We're going to dive right into the very center of the atom, into that core we just mentioned. Welcome to the world of nuclear physics. So that little nucleus, it's packing an unbelievable amount of energy into a ridiculously tiny space. Nuclear physics studies that core. It tries to understand the powerful forces holding it all together, what makes some atoms radioactive, and, of course, how we can tap into that immense power to generate electricity.
Wow, okay. We went from a simple falling ball all the way down to the heart of an atom. So, what's the point of all this? Let's zoom back out and talk about why any of this really matters.
Here's the most important thing to remember. Physics isn't just a bunch of equations on a chalkboard. It is the engine that drives human progress. Your phone, your car, the electricity lighting your room, the medical tech that saves lives, even our ability to explore space. Every last one of those things is possible because we understand physics. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, it's pretty clear. Physics is this incredibly powerful, absolutely fascinating science that just explains how the universe works. It's more than just a class you take in school. It's our best attempt at describing reality. So yeah, from the simplest things to the most complex technology, physics is just everywhere. And by understanding its rules, we get the power to create, to solve huge problems, and to make the world better. Which leaves us with a really exciting question to think about. Now that we have this incredible rule book for the universe, what are we going to do with it next?